This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
What is up? This is Jason Rigby. I want to share something with you real quick. The reason I do this podcast, I've had several people ask me on DMs like, why are you doing this? Are you trying to get sponsors? Yeah, I do have sponsors. I run ads, Facebook ads, stuff like that, just to be able to try to get the word out. That's the main thing, is that I want to get the word out because I believe in Albuquerque. And many of you, I've said it a million times on this show, just about every episode, what I believe Albuquerque can become and what it will become. If you look at Austin, Texas, and you look at Denver, Colorado, and you look at some of these cities in Seattle, Portland, and all, they're all done. They're all continue to grow. Denver has 5,000 people a month coming in. You know, all these, Boise starting to get really big right now. That was kind of like the gym in Boise, Idaho. But if you go from Texas on this way, there's really not a city that has land and is inexpensive and has an amazing culture and is available and ready for growth. And I think in the beginning of Albuquerque is now. I think business, as we get these other businesses that are coming in and as we get pro-growth, that's really important. Whether you're Republican or Democrat or Libertarian, it doesn't matter. We need pro-growth. That's one of the things that upsets me the most on these Republicans and Democrats with this COVID-19 is that you've got to protect the small business owner. Guys, it is so important when you vote that you vote to help small businesses. The guy that has 5 employees or 50 employees, that guy is the one that's hurting right now. There are so many business owners that I know that are hurting, and I want to give advice to it. I've been helping. I've been giving tons of free marketing advice, systems advice. I just been trying to get as much as I can and been super busy 6-7 days a week trying to help businesses out for free, to motivate them, to get them to be able to understand exactly what they need to do to be successful in this crisis. And that's what I'm here for. So the only thing I ask that you do is share this podcast, if you will. Put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook. You're like, well, that doesn't really do too much. Yes, it does. Facebook, whether you have 100 friends or 500 friends or 5,000, you putting it out there and letting one of your friends see it and they turn around and subscribe to the podcast, or if you haven't subscribed to our email, I encourage you to do that. I send several out a week. And I'm not going to spam you or anything like that. It's abqpodcast.com. That's abqpodcast.com. So if you enjoy this podcast, please do that one thing. If you would share it, I would really appreciate it. And we can continue to grow just as the city is going to grow. So what I want to talk to you about today, this is kind of I kind of wanted to be positive today. I know we've been doing crisis episodes, so I'm doing something totally different. We're going to talk about Wired magazine. I know a lot of you have heard that magazine. It's an amazing magazine. It's been around forever. It's all technology. It's all tech. It's what the latest and the greatest is doing for businesses, for, in iPhones and all that. And the owner and the founding editor of Wired is named Kevin Kelly. And if you haven't gone to his blog and you haven't read the stuff that he puts out there, it is absolutely amazing. Anything Kevin Kelly puts out, I read, I absorb. Usually I print it out, highlight it, and go over it again and again and again. Well, it was his 68th birthday. You're like 68, and he has like an Amish beard too, so he looks like opposite of what you'd think for a founding editor of Wired. But he put out 68 bits of unsolicited advice. And this list is absolutely amazing. And I kind of it's just words of wisdom. And I want to go through each of them with you. And I'm not going to bore you. I promise that. I will make sure that I go through each of them. If it's just a self-explanatory point, then I'm not going to go and elaborate on each one. We don't need to be here for 4 hours. But he said this: it's my birthday. I'm 68. I feel like pulling up a rocking chair and dispensing advice to the youngins. Here are 68 pithy bits of unsolicited advice, which I offer as my birthday present to all of you, which I was like, yes, thank you. He said this, first one: learn how to learn from those you disagree with or even offend you. See if you can find the truth in what they believe. How much do we need that right now, guys? How much division? How much social media posts are out there and it's just so far to the left, so far to the right, and everybody's just throwing grenades back and forth. And I think this is just, I want that differing opinion. I encourage that. Ask your teammates. Say, hey, help me. I need a different opinion here. If you disagree with me, that is more valuable than if you agree with me. If you're offended by what I'm saying, will you explain it to me? If somebody pops off at you and you feel like your life's not in danger or anything, I'm not talking about somebody that's crazy or something like that, but if somebody really gets offended with you and they start trying to argue with you, you need to really pay attention then. Be super present, control your emotions, because you're going to learn some valuable lessons in this. And I love that he says that. See if you can find the truth in what they believe. Find the truth. If you're far left, find the truth what the far right is. If you're far right, find what the truth is in the far left. I would love to get these people together and have them spend a month together and get to know each other. I think it would be an amazing reality show if they would do that. Number 2, being enthusiastic is worth 25 IQ points. It is. If you can come into anything being enthusiastic, you're going to win. Number 3, always demand a deadline. A deadline weeds out the extraneous and the ordinary. It prevents you from trying to make it perfect. So you have to make it different. Different is better. Don't go for perfection. Go for being different. Always wins. That brings out the creativity in you. Don't be afraid to ask a question that may sound stupid, because 99% of the time, everyone else is thinking of the same question and is too embarrassed to ask it. I always ask a stupid question. I'll even say that. I'm going to ask a stupid question right now, because like he's saying here, most of the room is thinking that anyways, and you could be the one that breaks the ice and causes others to begin to talk and elaborate on it. Next, being able to listen well is a superpower. While listening to someone you love, keep asking him, is there more, until there is no more. Is there any more that you'd like to share with me? Is there anything else that, keep asking that. A worthy goal for a year is to learn enough about a subject so that you can't believe how ignorant you were a year earlier. I love that one. I try to go for this. So I'll pick a subject, and then literally for $3.99, including free shipping, you can go to eBay and you could buy 5 books. That's $20, 5 books on this subject, pre-owned books, and you could read all 5 of these books on the subject. And I guarantee you'll know more than what you've known, especially if you take notes and kind of do a little bit of research online with it. I love doing that. I love picking a subject like that and just rolling with it. Next, gratitude will unlock all other virtues and is something you can get better at. It is. It's the key to unlock everything. And gratitude, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what circumstances you're in. You can have gratitude. I'm reminded of that story, and I think I've shared it with you before, where they were in the concentration camps, and there was a soldier that would just abuse this one, if you wanted to call them inmates or whatever. But they were just absolutely horrific what the Nazis were doing to the Jews. And so this one, a Jewish man, they were being mean to him and then make him go out and clean where the septic was at. And it would just be up to his waist full of, just shit and leftover food and all kinds of junk. And he would just gag and try to go out there, and he'd have to clean. And it was like a lake full of just like septic that we'd have to go out there, and he had to clean the filters and all that. And he said, one day he thought about it and he goes, how can I be grateful? How can I be grateful that I do that? And this is so powerful. He said, the guards and everybody would stay so far away from that because it stunk so bad and was so nasty that he would not get beat if he could sing. And so he learned that he would go into this septic area, this nasty big lake of shit, and he would just sing as loud as he could, and no one would bug him. No one could hear him. And that was the highlight of his day. And he was just turning whatever was happening in his life, he just became grateful for it and just turned it into a superpower. And it will. Gratitude will unlock all our virtues, and it's something we can all get better at. Next, treating a person to a meal never fails. And it's so easy to do. It's powerful with old friends and a great way to meet new friends. Yeah, I always do this. I always say, hey, let's go out to eat. Let's go to lunch. Let's go grab a beer. Let's go grab a coffee. Do this every time. Pay for it every time. I'm telling you, you will go far. Just make this your rule. I'm always going to, even if you don't have a lot of money, you can always meet somebody at Starbucks and buy them a coffee. Even if they get a pastry or something like that, at the most it'll be $20. So there's no excuse for this. You can always do this. It's very, very powerful. There's something around having people and meeting them at a table and food that is amazing. Next, don't trust all-purpose glue. I think that's self-explanatory. Reading to your children regularly will bond you together and kickstart their imaginations. Yes, I love children's books, especially now with what's going down with the amount that's on Amazon. They're just so profound. Some of them are just amazing how they deal with the ego. And you can type that in. If you type in books that deal with psychology, kids books that deal with psychology, kids books that deal with the ego, kids books that deal with fear, whatever issue you want, and then buy those, and then read them to your kids. It gives you an excuse to learn, and it's just amazing, and your kids will love it. Next, never use a credit card for credit. The only kind of credit or debit that a debt that is acceptable is debt to acquire something whose exchange value is extremely likely to increase, like in a home. The exchange value of most things diminishes or vanishes the moment you purchase them. Don't be in debt to losers. I'm telling you, this is so powerful. If you're facing debt issues, I would encourage you. The snowball effect works good. I did that a long time ago. And now I try to run with like very few debt unless I have like business credit card, and then I try to pay it off at the end of the month. I don't want any debt. I've simplified my life. I live below my means on purpose so that I can not have any debt. It's so important not to be in huge amounts of debt, because when you face situations like we're going through now with COVID-19 and the economy starts, to be able to have that cash on hand, to be able to not have, to look at, okay, my expenses are this, and that's all I have. Well, that's easy. I can survive for 6 months a year, and you should have that. Don't have debt, have 6 months saved up. I guarantee you, then if you're stuck at home or whatever for 3-4 months, you'll still have a little bit of savings, and you can go back to it and not be wiped out. Next, pros are just amateurs who know how to gracefully recover from their mistakes. Yes, learning to recover, to get up and do it all over again. That's what we learn in life. Extraordinary claims should require extraordinary evidence to be believed. Amen to this, especially now. Guys, if it's something crazy and it's unbelievable, make sure there's a lot of research out there and evidence to back it up that's equivalent to the claim. Then don't believe it if it's that. Next, don't be the smartest person in the room. Hang out with and learn from people smarter than yourself. Even better, find smart people who will disagree with you. Once again, this is like the first one he had. Find smart people who will disagree with you. Force yourself to get around people who will disagree with you and tell them no one likes to have that conversation. It's like, hey, I'm leaning kind of right, or I'm leaning kind of left. Let me go talk to somebody that has a different opinion of that. It's awesome. Find the friends that you disagree with politically and tell them that you want to go to coffee and talk politics. You're going to have an amazing conversation. I guarantee you that. As long as you come to it with humility and grace, and you put, I value our friendship over whatever you believe. I just want to talk to you. I did that the other day. It was so interesting. I just really enjoyed the conversation and got a really good perspective on it. And sometimes I've changed my mind on things just because of it. Next, don't be the best, be the only. Oh, that's so good. Don't be the best, be the only. Stop trying to be the best in your competition and find a creative way where you're the only one. That's so great. Next, everyone is shy. Other people are waiting for you to introduce yourself to them. They are waiting for you to send them an email. They are waiting for you to ask them on a date. Go ahead. I've learned this. Maybe sales has helped me with this. I'm single, so I just ask people on a date. I ask them if they're available, if they have a boyfriend or girlfriend, if they're married or whatever, especially if they don't have a ring on. If they have a ring, of course, I've always made that rule. It's just the way I was raised and my morals. I don't go venturing into that waters. And I encourage you, if any of you are thinking about that, it only leads to disaster 110% of the time. I've seen so many of my friends, married people, messing around with other married people. They start Snapchatting and everything else. It always leads into disaster, especially if you have kids or whatever. You're better off to end the relationship before you end it through cheating. I'm telling you that every time. Okay, everyone is shy. Everyone's shy. So if you introduce yourself first, they're going to appreciate that every time. Send the email out. Do it. Ask for a date. Go ahead. You won't be denied. And if you are, he says this, don't take it personally when someone turns you down. Assume they are like you, busy, occupied, and distracted. Try again later. It's amazing how often a second try works. I mean, this is sales 101. People won't even start paying attention to you unless you've contacted them 5 times. If you don't have an email automation that grabs your leads from your website, and I'm telling you, if you own a sushi bar, a brewery, whatever it is, you should be, whether you're a plumber and there's one of you, you should have a website that grabs leads. If you don't have a website that grabs leads, if you don't have emails that are going out right after they do a lead, it's very simple to do. You can DM me on it. I'll give you some websites that help you handle if you want to do it on your own, or I can give you a company that can do it very inexpensively. But you need to make sure that you're asking 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And don't take it personally. Some people aren't going to like you. Some people, I'll ask girls on a date and they're just not interested in me. I mean, they don't like flannel shirts and, sleeve tattoo guys. I had a girl tell me that. She's like, I will never date a guy that has a tattoo. It's like, okay, that's cool. I had one girl that says, I don't date white guys. Okay, that's cool. Down, whatever. Next. It's that simple. Don't take it personally. I see so many people taking everything so personal, and it's like, why? Life's too short to be offended by someone you don't even know. Come on, really? Okay, next one. The purpose of a habit is to remove the action from self-negotiation. You no longer expend energy deciding whether to do it. You just do it. Good habits can range from telling the truth to flossing. Guys, the habit, if you make a habit, if you do something over and over and over again, then you can't, when you have self-negotiation and you've got to have enough self-awareness where you know when that battle's happening in your head and you nip it in the bud. I'm making this a habit. I'm not going to negotiate this. This is what I'm going to do, and have the discipline to just do it. And then after you do it, you always, guys, you always feel better. You know that. Next, promptness is a sign of respect. Oh, I hate when people are late. Come on, guys. Oh, yeah, let's go for a coffee. And then you're 15 minutes late. It's just disrespectful. Promptness is a sign of respect. You know what I've learned? So here's what I learned. I'm going to share something personal with you. I used to be late all the time. And I used to ask people what they were. Was it good for morning, afternoon, or evening? It'd be a good time to meet with you. And everybody liked to do early morning breakfast. I get up early. Yeah, I do all that. But I have a whole morning routine, and I don't want anybody interfering with it. As a business leader, you need to understand this. Make your routine for you first, then your business. What makes you better? I would rather you come into work at 11 instead of 8, and you have done your yoga, you've done your meditation, you've made your smoothie, you talked to your kids, you didn't rush out of the house, you had sex with your wife or your husband, whatever it is. You did all these amazing things and then come to work in this mood of, just knowing that you took care of yourself first. But at the same time, what I was doing was I was like, oh, okay, you want to meet for 7 a.m. for breakfast, which I don't like to eat breakfast anyways. It just sounds gross to me, having like greasiness right off the bat, right when I wake up. It's just disgusting for me. I have to be up for a little bit, and then I don't mind having the bacon and the eggs and all that. But I love breakfast at night. That is my absolutely favorite. Some Kodak cakes with some like really good butter, some like blueberry syrup. I know I'm making some of you hungry. If you're listening to this, probably working out or something, that's great. And then some, bacon and just organic brown eggs. I just really like a big hearty breakfast. It's the Southern in me. I was raised down south. So prominence is a sign of respect. Be respectful, guys. Next, done with the breakfast thing. When you are young, spend at least 6 months to 1 year living as poor as you can, owning as little as you possibly can, eating beans and rice in a tiny room or tent to experience what your worst lifestyle might be. That way, anytime you have to risk something in the future, you won't be afraid of the worst case scenario. Love this advice. If you're young, try this. Do this for 6 months. Live in a tiny room. Live with your parents. You guys are trying to, it's such in a quick hurry to move out. Can I tell you something? When you move out, that's at least $1,200 a month by the time you add cable and electric and trash and apartment to rent and everything else. You're going to be at $1,000 to $1,200 right off the bat. You could use that to start your side hustle, use that for your hobby. Maybe you love Jordans and sneakers. I love that. I buy those, silly, but that's something I like to wear. How much money does that give you to do what you want to do? How much money does that give you? Start an Instagram account with all your sneakers and start posting those and use $1,000 a month. Stay at your parents if your parents don't mind you staying there, and use that $1,000 to promote yourself online, promote yourself on Instagram, make a website, do lots of different things. You can do a lot of money with $1,000 a month. I know at some point you got to move. I get that. And then move with, get 2 or 3 guys, rent a 3-bedroom, get 2 or 3 guys, and you guys split it up. And, if you're really, really good friends, do that. It'll teach you a lot. It's a good thing. Everybody wants too much too quickly. When you live worst case scenario, which I've been homeless, and I've shared that story with you guys before. I was homeless with absolutely nothing, broken, tried to commit suicide. Fortunately, I wasn't successful with that. And I'll share that story again sometimes. But I lived worst case scenario. I know what it's like freezing in your car. My car was broke down, did not work, engine was blown. So basically what I had to do was just, freeze to death in the car. I mean, it was just horrific. Next, trust me, there is no them. That's self-explanatory. Trust me, there is no them. And he has them in parentheses. The more you're interested in others, the more interesting they find you. To be interesting, be interested. Focus on them. Everybody's... I want to say something, and I hope this offends you because you need to get this in your head. Everybody is selfish and they really don't care about you. Now, you should care about them. That's how you're going to get, you're serving others and loving others. But ultimately, you should have no expectations for anyone. Stop putting expectations on everybody because it just makes your feelings hurt. Don't expect anything from your husband. Don't expect anything from your wife. Don't expect anything from anybody. Just give. Show gratitude. Let them work that out on their own. And if they disrespect you, then it's time for you to leave. You don't have to be in a relationship where you're giving 80% and they're only giving 20. If they're only consistently giving 20, you let them know that and you move on. Take you feeling sorry for yourself out of the equation. It's just the ego thing is all it is. This person should have done this for me. And I can't believe, I talk to business owners all the time and their ego gets in the way of them being successful. Don't take it personal. Once again, next. I could go a whole podcast on that. Next, optimize your generosity. No one on their deathbed has ever regretted giving too much away. Exactly. It's not yours to keep anyways. You're going to have something from what? 80 years, 100 years? If you're young, that's it. I take more pleasure in giving something to someone than I do. Going out to eat and paying for the meal and talking to them is way more interesting than me just going out by myself and buying myself $100 meal, a big, huge steak. I'd rather pay less and go somewhere else with someone else. Okay, next. To make something good, just do it. To make something great, just redo it. Redo it, redo it. The secret to making fine things is remaking them. People always try something once and they're like, that didn't turn out that good. Stop judging it, guys. Redo it. Redo it. Say, okay, be self-aware enough to look at this and say, okay, I didn't like this, this, or this. I think if I tweak this, and if I do this differently here, and then if I make this like this, then I think I've got something. Let me try this. I always do it like a prototype. That's how I think in my head. Okay, this is the first prototype. And I know with prototypes, I'm going to have to do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Pretty simple. The golden rule will never fail you. It is the foundation of all of the virtues. Yep. Golden rule. Always live by it. It's so simple, but yet we don't follow it. Next, if you're looking for something in your house and you finally find it, when you're done with it, don't put it back where you found it. Put it back where you first looked for it. Oh, I love this one. I'm going to start doing this. I'm always looking for stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff because I live pretty simply. I have nice things, but I don't have a lot of them. I learned that with minimalism. The only thing I have is I have a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes. I'm like a girl and all that, I guess. But other than that, I try to keep things pretty simple in my lifestyle. Saving money and investing money are both good habits. Small amounts of money invested regularly for many decades without deliberation is one path to wealth. That's why we tell everybody take 10% out and put it in something that's safe, put it in the bank, buy real estate, buy stocks, whatever it is, but 10%. So you say, I only get $500 a month. Take $50 and put it in the Robinhood app. Buy a really company that's going to be around forever. What if you'd have bought if you'd have bought a cloud-based company, if you'd have bought Zoom, what if you'd have bought toilet paper? You'd probably have doubled your money with that. So small amounts of money invested regularly for many decades. So if you're 20, you can be a millionaire easily by the time you're 35, 40, if you put 10% of your money away. Next, to make mistakes is human. To own your mistakes is divine. Nothing elevates a person higher than quickly admitting and taking personal responsibility for the mistakes you make and then fixing them fairly. If you mess up, fess up. It's astounding how powerful that ownership is. I love this. This is what Jocko podcast is all about. This is what Extreme Ownership, his book by Jocko Willink. He's a Navy SEAL. He was in charge of Navy SEAL training, went to combat and battle, just an all-around badass, amazing leader, teaches leadership with Echelon Front. And I cannot say enough about his books. I love them all. I read them multiple times a year. Extreme Ownership is that you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life. Everything. Your husband cheated on you, take 100% responsibility for it. It's amazing what happens. We'll do a podcast on that, Extreme Ownership. I think that'll be really cool. Next, never get involved in a land war in Asia. Don't know that much about that, whether he was trying to purchase real estate or something, but that was funny. You can obsess about serving your customers, audience, clients, or you can obsess about beating the competition. Both work. Both of the two, obsessing about your customers will take you further, 100%. Focus on serving your customers, guys. Stop looking at what the competition is doing. The competition, all it does is it leads you to just be a little bit better than them. Create something totally new. Create a whole new paradigm in the way that you treat customers. And it's amazing. We all watch those videos where something like that principal that in North Carolina, we all saw that where he made yard signs saying that they graduated and he went to every person's home. And then the police got involved and the fire trucks got involved and they started going. I think he went to either 200 or 400 students that graduated and put yard signs, and the kids were just amazed and just so happy about it. Really cool video. You should watch it. Next, show up. Keep showing up. Somebody successful said 99% of success is just showing up. Yep. Show up, show up, show up, show up. During this COVID-19, I have a friend of mine. He has about 30 employees. Now it's just him and another guy. They just have two because of everything that happened and it devastated him. But guess what? He's showing up and he's working every single day. Just work, 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 work. Show up, show up, show up. That will always work. Be smart about it, but show up. Next, separate the process of creation from improving. You can't write and edit or sculpt and polish or make and analyze at the same time. If you do, the editor stops the creator. While you invent, don't select. While you sketch, don't inspect. While you write the first draft, don't reflect. At the start, the creator mind must be unleashed from judgment. Yes, we always want to skip ahead. Focus on the task that's at hand, guys. Focus on what you're doing right there in that moment. Try to stay present and then judge it. You skip ahead and then judge. It's like, it's not going to turn out right. And like that's what he said, the creator mind must be unleashed from judgment. Love that. Next, if you're not falling down occasionally, you are just coasting. I love this. This is how I look at my life as far as failing. And John Maxwell wrote a book, great leadership guy. He was a pastor of a church and then started a leadership company. All his books are amazing. I think he's like 70-something years old, so he's written a ton of them. Every single one you'll love. You can get them for like $2.99, $3.99, like I said, pre-owned books on eBay. He wrote a book called Failing Forward. And that book has changed my life because I know I'm not coasting if I'm failing. And that's what has to do. We have to fall down. That is part of learning. The only way we're going to walk is to fall down. We all seen that in our children. Next, perhaps the most counterintuitive truth of the universe is that the more you give to others, the more you'll get. Understanding this is the beginning of wisdom. Yep, that is true. You have to give to get, and you have to give without any expectations. You don't give. I have that sign. I'll have, hey, can I give you this? And then can I be on the podcast? Hey, I don't mind. You can come on the podcast. I don't mind that if you have something valuable to say to you guys. I don't mind that. But you're giving me something and trying to make a big deal out of giving me something that you're just trying to buy your way onto the podcast. And that doesn't work. I don't take money for people to come on the podcast. Never done that. I'm not going to do that. What I do is if I believe that this person, after I talk to them on the phone, I believe this person, they can provide value to you guys. And it's interesting and unique and different because it's kind of like my world. It's my podcast. And I just want to give you guys information that's really unique. We've talked about all kinds of stuff and I love that. I'm trying to get a podcast coming up soon. That's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm trying to work with somebody that broke up in their relationship for COVID, and a friend of mine, and I want to see if will come on. I think she will. I've been talking to her about it because we have deep conversations all the time. And I think it would be great for you guys to listen to it. I think it would be a really, really good one about why she broke up and what the guy was doing and all that. I think it would be really helpful because a lot of people are breaking up right now during COVID-19 because they're having to spend time together and not be distracted by entertainment in the world and all around them. Let's get next one. Friends are better than money. Almost anything money can do, friends can do better. Almost anything money can do, friends can do better. In so many ways, a friend with a boat is better than owning a boat. I agree 100%. Don't buy a boat. I have gone through that road. I've had 2 or 3 boats, and every time it's been a money pit and horrific. Same with the house. I don't live in a house anymore. When I first came here out of Seattle, got a big house on the west side, a big house, 5 bedrooms, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, why? Most of the rooms, there was 3 rooms full of Rubbermaids. Half the garage was just full of junk. And it's like, too much stuff. I'm out. Not going to do that. Don't own a boat, guys, unless that's your passion and there's nothing else you can do is think to be on the water all the time. I have a friend of mine. He has a big, really nice, expensive boat, and he goes to Elephant Butte like once every 3 years, and the boat just sits in storage, and they have to do all kinds of stuff to clean it and maintain it. It's not worth it. Next, this is true. It's hard to cheat an honest man. Love that. Just be honest, guys. It's ego when you're not being honest. It's you trying to save face. I just tell people, hey, we made a mistake. Here's what we got to do. Here's how we're going to move forward. Just take 100% responsibility for it. Next, when an object is lost, 95% of the time it is hiding within arm's reach of where it has last seen. Search on all possible locations in that radius and you'll find it. Yep, so true. Next, you are what you do, not what you say. Not what you believe, not how you vote, but what you spend your time on. You are what you do. So many people try to tell me things that it's like that pastor that I heard of a pastor. I think it was in Colorado or somewhere. And he was anti-gay, just constantly, everything. And then they later bust him doing all this crazy. I mean, he's doing drugs and he was with all these guys. You know, you see these people and they just say things, well, I believe this or I believe this, and they do the exact opposite. I will never be friends with those people. If you have people that are that way, don't hang out with them. They're fake. The older I get, the more I hate fake. Oh my God, I cannot stand that. A lot of parties I won't even go to because the people are just, everybody's drunk, too much wine and just being so fake with each other. Everything's just fake. I hate that. I'd rather go hang out, and have a small party with real friends and we can talk about real shit and sit around a campfire and talk about issues that we're facing and problems that we're having and how we can help each other and what we can do and just being transparent with each other. That's what true friends is. Love that. Next, if you lose or forget to bring a cable adapter or charger, check with your hotel. Most hotels now have a drawer full of cables, adapters, and chargers. Others have left behind and probably have the one you're missing always. I've done this several times. They usually always have an iPhone or whatever type of cable. Hatred is a curse that does not affect the hated. It only poisons the hater. Release a grudge as if it was a poison. Yes. For some reason, I've always been good at this. There's some things that I'm bad at in my life. And I could give you a long list of those, but I can release a grudge pretty quick with somebody or be very forgiving. Maybe it's my personality. My astrology sign is Cancer. So for you that are out there that do all that, or sanguine, if you look at, the melancholy, choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, if you look at that test that you do, are, there's so many of those tests and I like doing all those. But just release the grudge. Get it out of you. It's only going to poison you. They're living their life. They're not thinking about you, maybe every once in a while, but most people don't think about you as much as how often do you think about those people? Think about that. Think about people that you don't really think about a lot of people all day long. You may think about them really quick or something, or see them or something remind you, and you think about them for a few seconds and you move on to what you're doing. Well, you're sitting there consumed over somebody and you're spending hours on end, trying to figure out some way to get back at them when they're not even thinking about it. It just poisons you. Next, there is no limit on better. Talent is distributed unfairly, but there is no limit on how much we can improve what we start with. This is something that I believe each of you should understand. And you probably didn't listen to me because I read it kind of quickly, but I want to say it again. There is no limit on better. Talent is distributed unfairly, but there is no limit on how much we can improve what we start with. Yeah, talent. I mean, I'm 6'2". Yeah, I played basketball in high school, but there's no way I was going to make it to the NBA. No matter how hard I tried, I wasn't at that level. And when I was in high school, it was Michael Jordan. If you haven't seen The Last Dance, I encourage you to watch that documentary. Even if you're not into basketball, you'll see some amazing work ethic, and it's just a great motivation for you. But, talent is distributed unfairly. It is. But I've always seen people with the sharpest axes that have the most talent that don't work that hard. And the guy that has a dull axe, he'll chop away at that tree and get it done way before the guy that's over talented. That's the way I always view things. I'll work twice as hard as you and I will succeed. You can go against me, but guess what? I'm going to work harder. Next, be prepared. When you are 90% done, any large project, a house, a film, an event, an app, the rest of the mirror details will take a second 90% to complete. That's something that you have to understand. It's very, very easy for you to take something that is 90% complete and quit. So many people do that. And I see that over and over and over again. They'll get almost there, almost to the point of the curve going down. They've gone through that whole uphill battle and then they just quit right before they were at the top of the mountain. And it's easy to go down the mountain, always is. When you go hiking, I go hiking all the time. It's easy coming down, isn't it? It's hard going up. But don't quit. I encourage you that right now, especially in your life, don't quit. You can pivot, but don't quit. When you die, you take absolutely nothing with you except your reputation. Enough said on that one. Before you're old, attend as many funerals as you can bear and listen. Nobody talks about the departed achievements. The only thing people remember is what kind of person you were while you were achieving. That's so true. While you're going for those goals, what type of person were you? How did you treat others? Were you kind? Kindness, that's so underrated. Be kind, guys. I'm seeing so much road rage. Every time I'm out, it seems like, or go somewhere, it's like, why? Why are you so angry so quickly? What did that person do to you where you want to kill them and to get you that angry? It's on you. It's not really on them. They just drove like preoccupied. You don't know. You have no idea what that person's going through. Maybe they're not paying attention to their driving because they were on their phone and their loved one is dying. Maybe their kid just got hurt really bad and they're on the way to the hospital. You don't know, guys. Just be kind. Back off. It's fine. You can think about something else. Show some gratitude. Pray for them. I do this, whether you're religious or not. I believe in prayer, guys. Meditation, prayer, whatever it is. And if you just start saying, I hope that you have an amazing life. I got angry at you. You cut me off. You did this. I know you're acting crazy. You're turning the wheels. And I know you're super angry. I hope that you calm down. I hope that you have a great day. I hope that your family is fine. Whatever you're going through to get you to this level of where you have this much anger, I hope that you can heal from it. And when you do that, and when you say those words, it changes your heart. And that's what we need. That's what kindness is. It's that genuine heart change. Next, for every $1 you spend purchasing something substantial, expect to pay $1 in repairs, maintenance, or disposal by the end of its life. Yeah, that's why I don't like having. I've had boats and BMWs and big houses and extra buildings, commercial buildings, and all that. It's just for every $1, it just costs $1 in repairs. People don't even realize how much their house costs. Add up all those trips to Home Depot and Lowe's. Keep track of all that for 20 years. See how much you really, between the price of the house, the interest on the house, and every $1 that you spend on that house, add all that up. See how much it really is. Next, anything real begins with the fiction of what could be. Imagination is therefore the most potent force in the universe and a skill you can get better at. It's the one skill in life that benefits from ignoring what everyone else knows. We lose imagination because we are parents. And don't tell your kids when they're imagining something great, don't tell them no. Stop telling kids no all the time. If it's not going to hurt them, move, go. Let them encourage them to go in that direction. We've just been told no all our lives. And when we started to be creative, I'm tired of people playing it safe. Stop your kids from being, if you've got a 17-year-old son and he's in love with art and music and just wants to go in that direction, let him know it's unlimited. No matter what he wants to do, he can do it. And on Netflix, watch the Ralph Lauren, because he's just an amazing guy, a very family man, introvert, but it shows the whole process. No one was, a male designer at the time, and he wanted to kind of be different and unique. And it's just a great documentary. It's on Netflix, Ralph Lauren. It may be on HBO. I'm not for sure now. It's either on one of the two, but if you have HBO, watch it. You can look it up on Netflix, but I think now that I'm thinking about it, I watched it like 2 years ago. It's on HBO. But imagination is where it's at, guys. And he said it's the most potent force in the universe. Next, when crisis and disaster strike, don't waste them. No problems, no progress. Don't waste a nice crisis, guys. I love it. It just strengthens me, sharpens my sword, and makes me a better person when I face a crisis. And then what I love is when I face a crisis right and do it right, then I know that it strengthens me and makes me a better leader. And my being a better leader and working to the crisis, I've also helped a lot of people around me. Next, on vacation, go to the most remote place on your itinerary first, bypassing the cities. You'll maximize the shock of otherness in the remote, and then later you'll welcome the familiar comforts of a city on the way back. Yes, that's so important to do that. Go to the remote place first, and then plus there's some solitude and stuff like that. I've really been all around the world. I've been fortunate enough to do that. That's something that I love to do, and I like to go and live. I'll go to hostels. Even though it's all kids and stuff like that, I'll still go backpack. I've backpacked Europe. Just love that. There's something fun about that, and just being simple. When you get an invitation to do something in the future, ask yourself, would you accept this if it was scheduled for tomorrow? Not too many promises will pass that immediacy filter. Yes, think about this. Guys, you don't have to say yes to everything. You guys do too many things with you're saying yes to your parents on everything. You're saying yes to your family on every little get together. You don't have to get together 10 times a week. If you, there's so many things that you can do with your time. Plus, if people see you every once in a while, then it makes this, like this mystery about you. I always tell this as a business owner, don't show up every day. Change your hours. If you can afford it, go to work once a week. Because I guarantee you, if you have a good managers, if you're like, yeah, my managers are good, can I tell you something? You're not needed. That's the whole idea of owning a business. You're letting your ego get in the way that you think you need to be there. All you need to be there is once or twice a week to have meetings with your managers. Let them lead. Get out of the way. Because all you're doing is creating a crutch of you and you're not allowing them not to lead. They need the freedom to be able to lead, and you need to give them the trust to be able to allow them to do that. You can start off by say, I'm going to take these 2 days off, or I'm going to come in at noon to 4. Start doing that. See what happens. You're going to appreciate it. There's so many things that you can do in your life, especially if you've owned the business for a while and it's running good. Don't be there very much. Go on vacations. Do other things. What do you love to do? Do those first, and then worry about your business. I guarantee you your business will do better for it if you have good leadership in place, which I know most of you do. I talk to you all the time. Don't say anything about someone in email you would not be comfortable saying to them directly, because eventually they will read it. Yes, why people? I've done that where if I'm going to send out a nasty email, I'll type it all out and then I let it sit for a day in drafts in Gmail, and then I read it the next day. And I have never sent one of those out, but it helps me because I get angry quick because I'm emotional. So it helps me get my thoughts out. I've always sent a different email where I've been a lot nicer and kinder. And sometimes you have to send that hard email out, and it's important. But I can change the wording on it. Instead of be emotional, I'll be logical. Next, if you desperately need a job, you are just another problem for a boss. If you can solve many of the problems the boss has right now, you are hired. To be hired, think like your boss. If you're looking for a job, go to the place. When you get an interview, And I was talking to somebody that they said, well, I submitted my application. I'm like, did you call them? Yeah, I called them. Well, what did you do? Well, I called them. Call them every day. Let them know. Go in there. Make business cards. You can make them online for free and print them out. Make business cards and leave them. Make a business card that says, to Jim, would love to be able to have an interview with you. Send a thank you card. Thank you for allowing me, and leave it at the receptionist and have their name on it. I guarantee they'll open up and read it. And I guarantee you'll get a say thank you. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity. Would love to be able to meet with you to go over this job opportunity. I think I can solve this, this, and this. Guaranteed to get hired. Next, art is in what you leave out. Think about that. Art is in what you leave out. That's why I love looking at art. If you haven't gone to Santa Fe and take the time to go through, if you get a really good artist, they will highlight the things in society that we have issues with. And I think it's really important to look at the fringe, the crazy, I love looking at like abstract art and then trying to read about it and seeing where, some of it's like silly or whatever if they have no substance. But if there's substance to it, it's very interesting, like especially a lot of old art when you look at like they were going through war times or there was starvation. Some of those paintings is amazing. And if you read about them and go into detail, you'll be like, wow, I didn't even know that or understand that. It's just, and you can really stare at a painting for, an hour and then read all about it and find those things in the painting. It's just really cool. It's like a puzzle. Next, acquiring things will really bring you deep satisfaction, but acquiring experiences will. Yes. Experience is where it should be at. Next, rule of 7 in research. You can find out anything if you're willing to go 7 levels. If the first source you ask doesn't know, ask them who you should ask next, and so on down the line. If you're willing to go to the 7th source, you'll almost always get your answer. Yes. This is like private eye stuff right here, guys. 7s, go 7s. If you're in sales, this is really important. Go to the next person, go the next person, go the next person, go the next person. Do some research. You have Facebook. You know who their friends are, who's commenting most on their post. Be that little stalker. Now, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying it like, find things. You'll find them. You'll get there. You'll understand. You'll know exactly who they are and what they are if you'll do the rule of 7 in research. Next, how to apologize quickly, specifically, and sincerely. Yes. Oh, I love when people are honest and they apologize with me. It makes me like them more. It's like they if they come to you quickly and say, I'm sorry, Jason, this is what I had anticipated. This didn't happen. I think we could do this, or this, and they're being sincere about it and specific. Hell yeah. I'll accept an apology every time. And it's going to make me like them more. Who wouldn't want that? Too much of this passive aggressive bullshit that's out there. I hate that. It's like in a relationship that way too. I've had, multiple relationships, 46. And it's like, tell me what's wrong. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Oh, you're too emotional. You can't talk right now. Okay. Well, let's schedule a time. Do I need to leave? What? Let's talk about it. Do I need to apologize? Is there something that I'm not seeing? I know your your perception's your reality. So let's talk about this. I want to figure it out. I want to ask for forgiveness. If I did something wrong to you, or you feel like I did something wrong to you, then I want to know, because I need to fix my actions. If I'm doing something and I don't even know what I'm doing and it's hurting you, I don't want to do that. I want to know. So guys, be quick to apologize, quickly, specifically, and sincerely. Next, don't ever respond to a solicitation or a proposal on the phone. The urgency is a disguise of something. I love that. The urgency is a disguise. I always ask people to email me. I like that. It's like, can you get a proposal together or give me all the information, email it. Do you have a deck or something you can send me so I can go over it? And then after that, if you'll follow up with me after that email, then we can schedule a time and go over it together if I'm interested. And then I judge it off of what they've sent me and if I think that there's interest in it or not. That's the way I do it. There's a lot of different ways. I appreciate the email because then it allows me to look at it on my own time when I want it. And then I just take 5-10 minutes and go over everything. And then if I see something that may be there, maybe the cost is too high, but I like their product, then I'm going to tell them that cost is too high. Really like your product. I'm not going to say that to everybody, because if they have an extremely valuable product, then their cost may be justified. Or explain to me why your cost is so high. I'll ask that too. This is $2,000 a month. Why is this $2,000 a month? What I'm seeing from it is this, this, and this. I don't see the ROI there. Then they know you're like straight up with them instead of just blowing them off. Next, when someone is nasty, rude, hateful, or mean with you, pretend they have a disease. That makes it easier to have empathy towards them, which can soften the conflict. This one's interesting. But I think you can get to the point where you just blow it off and just be like, this person, I always say this person must be having a bad day or they're just not a good person. I don't want anything to do with them anyways. I don't want to talk to them ever again anyways. If they're being nasty, rude, hateful, or mean to me, I'll show empathy and kindness to them. But if I find out from other people that they're that way, I want to have nothing to do with them. I don't care what or how they can benefit me. They're a bad person. I don't do business with bad people, period. Next, eliminating clutter makes room for your true treasures. It does. We have too much junk, guys. Keep the things that are, and we've all seen that. And I know on Netflix, there's that real popular program where you hold things. And then if there's feeling and emotion and it stirs you, then you keep it. If there's nothing there, then you just get rid of it quickly. And I think that's so important. I see things in my room right now I need to get rid of. Not my books, though. Next, you really don't want to be famous? Read the biography of any famous person. Yeah, you can be wealthy or whatever, but famous people, it is horrific. In the height of the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, he was probably one of the most famous people in the world then. Listen to his hell. Like, literally could not go anywhere or do anything. It makes you crazy, too. Look at Lady Gaga, Michael Jackson. Look at all of these super famous people. Taylor Swift in her day. I mean, the list goes on and on. Being famous sucks. Next, experience is overrated. When hiring, hire for aptitude, train for skills. Most really amazing or great things are done by people doing them for the first time. Yes, everybody goes straight to like, what's your education? What's this? That's all bullshit, guys. I always go for attitude myself and your willingness. Are you humble enough to learn? Do you have a great attitude? And are you willing to be humble enough to go through some shit in the beginning to figure this shit out and then work with me? Let me coach you. Let me train you. And then if you're humble enough to go through it and see my way and the systems that I've put in place and you could follow those, then I'm in. Let's go. A vacation plus a disaster equals an adventure. Yes, every time. I've had some pretty scary stuff. It's always fun adventure. Next, buying tools. Start by buying the absolute cheapest tools you can find. Upgrade the ones you use a lot. If you wind up using some tool for a job, buy the very best you can afford. Yep, exactly. Next, learn how to take a 20-minute power nap without embarrassment. Yeah, take naps if you're feeling it. I know people that go out to their cars and take naps, or shut their door in their office and take a nap, and put, I had a friend of mine, he always would just lock his door in his office and he had like a little window or whatever. And you could see him, he'd like lean up against the door with his chair and take a nap. Following your bliss is a recipe for paralysis. If you don't know what you are passionate about, a better motto for most youth is mastering something, anything. Through mastery of one thing, you can drift towards extensions of that mastery that brings you more joy and eventually discover where your bliss is. Yes, take the time to master something. If it's Modern Warfare and you love that video game and you're 16 years old, there's kids out there that are making millions of dollars a year just off of playing that one game. So, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Video game guys that are on Twitch and all that. I talked to a guy the other day. He makes $6,000 a month and he's an okay player. He's still really good, but he's an okay player compared to everybody else. And he sits at home and plays video games and that's his passion. That's what he loves. So no matter what it is, master something, anything, whatever it is, master it. Next, I'm positive that in 100 years, much of what I take to be true today will be proved to be wrong. Maybe even embarrassingly wrong. And I try really hard to identify what it is that I'm wrong about today. It's so true. You put time behind something, guys. Over time, it shows that it's wrong. I think all the things that we die on now, especially on the political side of things, is all really think about it. Stop. It's just all ego. Let's get over that. 100 years from now, people are going to debunk a lot of craziness that we believe. Look, 100 years ago, look what people believed. I was reading the other day that Kellogg's cornflakes, the guy at Kellogg, and he was crazy. You should read some of the stuff he had. But he made cornflakes so that it would make men not be very sexual. Like the grains and stuff like that would knock their testosterone levels down. And so that's what it was for, because they believed, Satan would get involved in testosterone, all kinds of craziness. You should read it. But how much snake oil, guys, and all that? 100 years ago, people believe crazy stuff and we laugh at them today, but then we turn around and we'll die on the stuff we believe. Come on, guys, really? Let's move on. Almost done. Over the long term, the future is decided by optimists. To be an optimist, you don't have to ignore all the many problems we create. You just have to imagine improving our capacity to solve problems. I love this. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on how to solve the problem. and be optimistic about that. You can solve the problem. I don't care how big the problem is. It can be solved with enough creativity and love and humans getting together and putting their ego aside and working selflessly. You can solve any problem, guaranteed. Next, the universe is conspiring behind your back to make you a success. This will be much easier to do if you embrace this. Oh, I love that. The universe is conspiring behind your back to make you a success. Behind your back. You think that everybody's out to get you? I had this when I was younger, when I got out of the Marine Corps, and then I started getting into business. I always thought everybody's out to get me. I had like this, like, what's this person's real motive? You know, like, what are they going to do? Like, I always treated everybody as the enemy. And I really began to think about it. And I was like, half the stuff I'm thinking about isn't even true. The other half is I don't even know what they're thinking because I can't read their mind. And then I'm guessing something that's negative. It just doesn't work, guys. But I'm telling you right now, the universe is conspiring behind your back to make you a success. It wants to do that, whether you believe in God, the universe, or whatever. And I want to encourage you guys, I'm going to be done. I want to keep this under an hour. But we had, a ton of things to go through, which I love, these 68 bits of unsolicited advice. You can go online and type 68 bits of unsolicited advice and you can get this list. Amazing that somebody would take the time to write this on their 68th birthday. Just amazing wisdom. But if you like universe and you like religion and you like, paranormal and you like conspiracy theories and, all that stuff, I have another podcast. It's called Higher Density Living. And I do it with a data scientist named Alex. Amazing, super smart guy. He has a tech company and we go back and forth and we talk about the woo-woo, what some people like to call it, energy, vibration, universe. We talk about all that stuff. We talk about all different types of religions. We just go heavy into personal development. We'll get into that. Spirituality, yoga, reincarnation. I mean, the list goes on and on about all the shows that we have. When we have those available, we've been doing those for a little bit less than a year now, but you can go to higherdensityliving.com or you could go on to Apple or Spotify, any of those, and just type in Higher Density Living and you'll see our podcast with Alex and I. If you like that, some of you guys are like, no, I'm not into that. Then that's fine. I thank you for listening to this podcast. I want to thank our sponsors, Quality Mazda. Mainly, they've been a huge help to the podcast. I appreciate them. They've been here since 1957. Di Lorenzo family. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle, don't hesitate to support local. Don't hesitate to support Quality Mazda. They are great people. I talk about being honest and transparent, and car dealerships mostly aren't that. And the culture that they built there is absolutely amazing. And if you're looking at your next vehicle, even if it's not a Mazda, if you're looking at your next vehicle, don't hesitate to contact Quality Mazda. You'll see the difference with them. I want to thank Turtle, ABQ Live, 99.9 The Beat, and Rigby Digital. If you need marketing consulting in your business and you want me to come in and kind of go through your business, dissect everything, kind of see where it's at, talk to your managers, give you some advice, I'm more than happy to do that. I do that all the time. That's mainly what I do. Then you can go to abqpodcast.com. That's abqpodcast.com. And from there, you can, message me, or you can go to ABQ Jason Rigby on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, any of those, and DM me from there. I'm mainly on Instagram and Twitter. Mostly I am on LinkedIn. So you can message me. A lot of you guys message me from LinkedIn. That's really cool. I appreciate that. But it's ABQ Jason Rigby. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'm out.